everybody, and welcome to HawkeyeFX with your host Marcus Toombs on the 7th of August 2017, and this is my weekly review. Okay, if we take a look at what we were expecting last week here, you can see it was continued Japanese strength, continued Euro strength, pound strength coming in here, and also potentially US dollar strength. And this was to be traded against weakness in the Canadian here, the Aussie, and this New Zealand looked like it was turning and potentially would turn down, which it did. We would trade New Zealand weakness. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the charts and see how those four stronger currencies did against the three weaker currencies. If we start here off with the yen, you can see it strengthened significantly against the Canadian, the Aussie, and the New Zealand there. This line being the start of the week. The euro here continued to strengthen against the Canadians. You can see here the Aussie and the New Zealand. The pound here strengthened against the Canadian, the Aussie, and the New Zealand running into Super Thursday, which I'll come to in a minute. And then you can also see here the US dollar strengthened against the Canadian, the Aussie, and the New Zealand. Okay, the euro was our strongest currency here through the week, but I just want to take a little look at the pound here. This was my pick of the week, and you could see that we came into a lot of strength here, but I identified we had a big news announcement, which was the Bank of England interest rate decision on Super Thursday. Now, if we look at this on the charts, you can see the pound was actually strengthening against all of these five currencies, including the yen and the US dollar here, going horizontal against the euro here through until Thursday. Interest rate decision was kept on hold, but the quarterly inflation report suggested that inflation was coming down, and this takes the pressure off the next interest rate hike, and you can see from that point the pound has weakened. And then finally, taking a look at the US dollar here, you can see it did turn up, come into strength, so we're looking for this strength. Suggest it might be later in the week when this gets momentum, and this was certainly the case for NFP. With the US dollar having been so weak of late, the good set of NFP figures brought a probably bigger than expected strengthening in the US dollar this week. Okay, so let's look at what we might expect this week, and you can see here the calendar is very light for tier 1 data. We have Canada off on holiday on Monday and Japan off on Friday, which will also keep trading light this week. The main news to look out for is the interest rate decision on Wednesday, manufacturing productivity on Thursday for the pound, and then finally inflation reports on the US dollar on Friday. Okay, so let's look at what the Daily Fat Man is telling us to look out for this week. The two most striking ones are the US dollar strength here. We could see this continue to strengthen all through this week, and the pound has now turned down, so we would expect this to weaken through the week. We also expect weakness to continue in the Aussie and the New Zealand. Interestingly, the Canadian down here at the bottom with the Swiss franc, the Japanese yen, and the euro coming towards the top. We should be watching out in case any of these four start to turn, come into strength, or begin to weaken. But until that does happen, do continue to look for Japanese strength and euro strength this week. Okay, I hope this helps, and I wish you all the best for trading. Do look out for a number of FOMC speakers this week, which can always move the market for the US dollar.